Hello, good evening. Welcome. Hi, Terry. Hi, Natalie. Yes, good timing for this topic. I agree. All right, almost 7:30. Just a few moments here. So, as people are tuning in, I'll just say welcome to True North Insight. We offer teachings in Vipassana insight meditation and retreats, which are online now, but we hope someday we will be back in person. That's going to be so good. So good. We also have lots of courses happening right now through True North Insight and sanghas, like regular weekly meditation groups, as well as this there's lots of folks all through the week offering these live stream YouTube teachings. Lots of good stuff. So check out the True North Insight website. I guess I could paste it here. I'll just mention a couple of things there. So we do have a weekly BIPOC sitting group for Black, Indigenous, people of color. I think it's Monday nights, and it's a drop-in on Zoom. The information is on the website to get the link for that. I keep talking about the website, so I'm going to just pop it in here. There it is. Copy, paste. And there's another meeting on Wednesdays. It'll start again in October, and that's a queer sangha on Wednesdays 5 till 7. A wonderful group of people, and they take turns. We take turns leading the group. Another couple things are changing for me. I'm one of the Dharma teachers with True North Insight, and these YouTube live streams, I'm going in the process of changing that, and I'm very excited. So it's going to take a bit more work in the behind the scenes, but we're going to transition to Zoom. So you can still just drop in. If you're interested, you'll get an email, like you'll submit, there'll be a form that you can submit your email, and then you'll get a reminder email each week with the Zoom that you can opt into, when it fits for your schedule. So that this same time, Wednesday evenings, we'll meet on Zoom instead, and that way I can see you, we can see each other, and we can ask questions and share insights, and I'm really missing that and look forward to that. And so then I'll just record the portions where I'm talking or guiding meditation, and then I have to edit the videos and stuff, so it's a bit more work, and then I'll upload them to YouTube for other people to watch that can't join in at that time. So this is a couple weeks in progress. We have to set up the sign-in form and then train me how to edit and upload and such. So it'll probably be another 2 weeks at least of doing it this way, but I will let you know, and that will be forthcoming. So that I think that'll be so great to be able to see each other and feel a community of more than just me talking. Another thing. Yeah, I'm also in the works of developing an introduction to meditation, just a 6 week. So if you know anyone that's a real beginner, or hasn't practiced in a long time, or is new to Vipassana meditation from another kind, that's going to be coming up. I'm working on it. I have to create the Eventbrite. So I think it's 6 weeks, starting mid-October to the end of November, on Saturday mornings, and that'll be on Zoom. It'll be 2 hours each Saturday morning. Last announcement, another thing is that there's a caregivers meditation group. I'm one of the facilitators. There's a French group meets on Thursdays, and there's an English group that meets Tuesdays on Zoom. And we alternate Tuesday afternoons at 2, the next week, Tuesday evening at 7:30. And I facilitate the Tuesday evening one. And so this is for personal caregivers, folks that are living with or caring for a loved one personally. Another thing that's in the works is professional caregivers meditation group, and that's in the plans. We'll hear more about that later. Yeah, won't Zoom be nice? Thank you. Great. I'm glad that you're looking forward to it as well. Yeah. So I'm backtracking here to the fourth hindrance. We've done a little mini series here of the hindrances. Last Wednesday evening, I talked about doubt, which was the fifth. And I had technical issues when we were trying to do the fourth one, restlessness and remorse, or restlessness and worry. So technology is working with us tonight, so going ahead with that one. So if you haven't caught the other ones, you can look for those on YouTube here. Desire is the first hindrance. Aversion or ill will is the second. Sloth and torpor is the third. And this is restlessness and remorse, and the fifth one is doubt. And they're all hindrances because they hinder, get in the way of, impede mindfulness, which is what we're here to practice. They hinder, get in the way of clear seeing, of calm, of insight. So they're very important, and there's something that every meditator experiences. Even the Buddha experienced them, and I find that heartening that it's not just my mind that's like this. It's something we all experience, but not just to be like, oh, well, that's how it is. We need to actually work quite skillfully with these so that they don't hinder our practice, which is what we're here for. So the first one, part of this group here, restlessness, I have to say it slowly, is udacha, in Pali, for folks that are interested in that. Looks like that. And interesting, in the Pali English dictionary, interesting to me, is the first part of the definition calls it overbalancing, which I think is like a little surprising, right? Overbalancing. And so I think of like somebody, trying to walk a tightrope. That's equanimity, that's balance. And if you're constantly overbalancing, or if you're driving and you overcorrect, then you just would be this way and this way and this way. And so to discern how, not so much reactivity in overbalancing is what that means to me. But maybe you have another way of seeing that I'm missing. Then the definition goes on to talk about agitation, excitement, distraction, and uses the word flurry to be everything's in a flurry, a flutter. It has both the qualities, shows up physically and mentally, as they all do. So physically, when we're feeling this restlessness, it's that shakiness, that agitation, fidgetiness, like it's difficult to even just sit still, constantly moving and tapping and fussing, and it can feel like tension, that restless agitation in the muscles, shakiness, and mentally restlessness shows up more like mental agitation, what we call monkey mind. You just, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? Well, that sounds more like doubt hindrance, but it's related. Just kind of pinging here and there. Sometimes it's called the drunken monkey, swinging through the trees and screeching and causing all kinds of mischief. The other part of this hindrance, restlessness, and worry or remorse is the word, I'll just put it for folks that like looking these things up, is kukucha, which means, the first part of the definition, they call it bad doing, which is really another odd one. Bad doing, worry, remorse, bad doing. Yeah. So it's related to feeling remorse and regret and worry about things that have happened. Yeah, I'm not sure about the bad doing. Then it goes on to say misconduct. So when we've done something unskillful, it causes a lot of agitation in the body and the mind. Agitated feelings of regret for what one has done or has not done. The regret and remorse, we feel like, oh, I didn't speak up about that, or I didn't protect that person, or I didn't pick up that garbage when I saw it, those kind of things. So it can also be what we haven't done. So one way to remember these is flurry and worry. Restlessness is flurry, part of the definition, and remorse is worry. So flurry and worry is another way to encapsulate these. It's a difficult hindrance because the last place we want to be, the last thing we want to pay attention to when these are showing up is how it's feeling. It's very, very uncomfortable to feel these sensations in the body, to really just let ourselves feel them. The sensations of restlessness and worry are so strong that it just causes us to be jumping around and reactive and reaching for a distraction or keeping busy. It's quite strong, uncomfortable sensations. And so it takes a lot of intention and skillful intention and determination, aditana, to turn towards it with that curiosity and kindness to be, wow, what does this feel like in the body? Very often when you ask that question, for me, it just feels like a disconnect, like body, what body? Because the mind is just like that screeching monkey swinging around, or there's kind of a disconnect. Um, so with practice and a lot of awareness and intention to use the touch points of where am I right now is super helpful. Just the first line of defense when we're caught in these agitated states is to just this, like feel the touch points. Like right now, just feel your seat on whatever you're resting on, or your feet, or notice where what your hands are touching. You can use any of the sense doors as touch points. Hearing, seeing, smell and taste may be, well, actually, like how often are you eating something and the mind is just ruminating over, I like that word ruminating. It's like what cows do, ruminating, chewing their cud. And uh, how often are we eating something and we're not actually tasting it? The mind is actually eating, chewing on some worry or problem or planning. So using that touch point of like, oh, what am I actually tasting, seeing, picking up, touching, helps us to come back into the present moment and stop feeding this vicious cycle. That takes a pretty strong intention to break this habit, to turn the reflex into wanting to feel it, because as I said, it's usually quite a strong sensation and quite uncomfortable. So much so that we can be so agitated that we don't even know we're agitated. We can be so restless, we don't even identify it as that because we're so disconnected with ourselves in the present moment. We're just so, flipping out and flitting here and there. We don't even realize, oh, wait a minute, what's driving this? What is pushing? There's a lot to explore in this one. And a lot of the exploration really is showing up as questions. So, like all the hindrances, um, they're broken down into different ways that we need to approach them. The first is to know it, to know when that's present. And that's a big one with this, is like, can I actually just stop sometimes and, whoa, I didn't even know I was, being propelled by this hindrance. There was so much momentum and push. So the first part is to know it, and then to know what conditions it, what gives rise to it. And then to know its absence, what deconditions it, what is an antidote to it, and recognizing when it's hasn't arisen, to cultivate that happening more often, the non-arising. Okay, so restlessness. If this is a strong hindrance for you, to really, tuck into it. Like, look at these 5 hindrances. We tend to have one that's really stands out for us. Of course, we all experience all of them, and sometimes what we call what's it called? There's a kind of a phrase for it, but all 5 of them at once can also happen. So with restlessness, if that's something that shows up for you, to really start to inquire with some of these questions, like how often during the day is restlessness present for you? Is it, and how does it cause you to act? Where you're just being busy or getting things or reaching out to some distraction. what triggers restlessness for you? You know, what feeds it? Yeah, this is something for me that I'm working on minimizing the social networking information because it was causing a lot of restlessness and worry for the state of our world. And of course, we wouldn't advocate disconnecting from our world, but to look at, is it causing unskillfulness and more restlessness than is helpful? Mm, a lot, and to look at what is triggering your restlessness. Is it desire? Is it doubt? That, you know, it can relate to one of the other hindrances, that this feeling like if I fix things, if I get something else, then I will be happy. That can really fuel restlessness. Um, and it feels like there's a general turning up of the dial of restlessness in our culture. And then the more restless minds that are interacting with each other, more restlessness interacting with more restlessness, is creating an enormous chaos, disconnect, and separation from each other, from ourselves, from clear seeing. So, in all the previous hindrances, we've talked about there's a simile of water. And with restlessness, the water is like a pond that is stirred up by the winds. So the image I used in the poster was kind of really choppy waves that are moving in all different directions, you know, and just a really chaotic surface of the water. And of course, that impedes clear seeing. It impedes any sensation of calm and any ability to have insight. Yeah, okay. Um, Another thing that may be fueling restlessness for you is boredom. Do we have any capacity to be bored, to allow for stillness and quiet and space and calm without needing to reach for something and do something else and keep moving? Uh, we, yeah, so that can be a really, really strong force. And it can also come from what the kids these days call FOMO, fear of missing out. Is that fueling our restlessness? You know, I want to go here, I want to do that, I don't want to miss this, I want to be in touch with that person, etc. There's a grasping and a fear that's fueling the restlessness. Yeah. One of my favorite inquiry questions with this, and I don't know if this came from Gil Fronsdale or Joseph Goldstein. I read it somewhere, and sorry to not be able to give proper credit, but I think it might have been Gil Fronsdale. He has a beautiful little book on the hindrances. Um, uh, and the question is, if I weren't feeling this restlessness, what would I be feeling? I love that. If I weren't feeling this restlessness, so first of all, we have to recognize I'm feeling restless. And that's not easy, even that first step. Okay, and then if I wasn't feeling this restless sensation and mind, what would I actually be feeling? There's what's underneath it. Is it desire? Is it boredom? Is it loneliness? Is it anger? What's underneath there? Really great question. Okay, so then we're kind of look at what's fueling restlessness. And then we can look at also, it's skillful to look at its opposite, if you will, calm. What is it that supports your being to be calmer? So, as I mentioned, less Facebook, less Netflix, less. I have a friend who's on her email. Well, actually, it's a Dharma teacher, Dawn, who's one of the TNI Dharma teachers, and her email signature says, I only check emails Tuesday and Thursdays. Wow. So skillful, so good. So less email compulsion and checking. Great. Are you getting enough sleep? Very, very important. Getting enough exercise? Is nutrition supporting calm? Or is there a lot of sugar fueling, or caffeine fueling? Of course, agitation in the body. And another thing that cultivates calm and contentment is our ethics, moral value system, our intention to not cause harm in all the ways. Yeah. And likewise, with the questions around restlessness, we can ask, okay, I want to support more calm in my heart and mind. Well, what times of day am I most likely to feel calm? And am I allowing a little space there? Is there a time in the morning where there's some quiet in your neighborhood or in your home, or in the evening? Or is it to go, maybe you need to leave the house and go to another place to find calm? And to get familiar with what is the sensation of calm in the heart and mind. So familiar with what restlessness feels like, so we can identify it. And what does calm feel like? Really get to know that, because of our negativity bias. There's a tendency to pay more attention to what is negative sensations and experience. And we really have to turn towards, what does calm feel like? And can I recognize, there's a little moment of when I step outside and look at the trees, when I turn my face towards the sky and look at the big sky, maybe after exercising, whatever it is. Okay, so restlessness, calm, and then worry. Worry or remorse. Ask yourself, is it true? Is it really true? So this is kind of a line of inquiry from, our name just slipped right through. What is it? Supriya, you know what it is. Is it true? Is it really true? I can't think of her name right now, but it's a woman that wrote a book and teaches this sequence of questions that is really helpful. Byron Katie, thank you, Supriya. Yes, Byron Katie. And there's more to that, of course. It's a big teaching, but even just for me, just asking, is that true? Is it really true? Because the book is called The Work. Thank you so much for sharing that. The Work by Byron Katie. Um, because the first time I ask, is it true? The first level of the mind says, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And then, is it really true? Well, it's true for me right now. Is it really true? Just helps to unhook from these storylines of worry in the mind. It's probably might often be something that hasn't even happened yet. Well, is it true? Well, no, because we don't know how it's going to go. And then these worrisome, remorseful thoughts about things we have done that have been unskillful. And then we're like, I'm a bad person. I'm no good. I'm never going to be good enough. Is it true? Is it really true? No. Um, So these kind of judgments of good and bad regarding ourselves and others rarely lead to calm. They don't really facilitate calm and clear seeing. Um, However, it is skillful to, you have to work really carefully with it around regret and remorse. Uh, when we have done things that have been harmful, whether it was intentional or not, it can be helpful to look at it and see, can I make amends? Can I apologize? Can I pay it forward in some other way? Can I forgive myself? Can I forgive others? Uh, there's lots of work we can do around worry. Um, and Again, worry is a hard thing to feel, to turn towards, to really pay attention to in a skillful way, because the mind just wants to loop onto the storyline over and over and over of futuring or past. And that's good. That's a good first step, is just to first recognize, oh, worry is here. And then what does worry feel like? Numbness, butterflies in the stomach, knots, tension. Turn towards it. Okay. Similar to worry has a futuring to it, right? We're worrying about things that are coming up, and remorse is more the regret for past harms. Uh, One thing you can do, I think this was in Gil Fronsdale's book, gosh, is to make a list. If there's something really catching your heart and mind with regret and remorse, and you just keep looping on it and beating yourself up about it, is to actually turn towards and see. So I already mentioned kind of making amends, or mm, is there any opening to have a difficult conversation with someone? And if not, sometimes a ceremony, a ritual, some way to release the energy of that and to speak your regret and remorse. I've facilitated some things like that with people and have experienced them personally myself, around things that were really regret and painful and were holding on for years. And I found it super helpful to create a ritual that was facilitated and witnessed. I mean, I won't go into it. There's lots you can do there, and really helpful. Yes. Okay, we're going to have a practice, but a couple things here from Joseph that I love in his book, Mindfulness, this great book. Does it show up backwards? I think it does. Mindfulness, Practical Guide to Awakening, Joseph Goldstein. It's a big one, but it's almost all of the path is in here, and really accessible. His writing is beautiful, and his understanding is super clear. So in terms of it's big, but you can just go to the parts that are standing out for you. You can just look up what you need. So I love this in terms of how to practice how to be mindful with restlessness and remorse. He talks about, first of all, using a wide angle lens, which I really like that image, a wide angle lens. So we kind of open up our attention, and I'll read what he says. We settle back, aware of the whole body, just feeling and noticing the whole whirlwind of physical and mental energy. Sometimes I picture this hindrance as a Jackson Pollock painting, and mindfulness is the frame we put around it. The point of the frame is to help us see the picture more clearly. Love that image. So Jackson Pollock, for those who don't know, you could just Google that name and Google images. And Jackson was an artist, painter that painted huge canvases in what looks like just spattered paint, layers and layers and lots of colors, filling the whole canvas with spatters. And so Joseph is using that image. It just really fits for me, of a restlessness and worry, mind and body. And the mindfulness becomes the frame for that painting. So once you frame it, just by knowing it, naming it, this is what's happening, feeling it, it's contained in a way. It can be seen, it can be known. It's really helpful. I love it. So then he goes on, the second way to work with this. So first is the wide angle lens, where you open the attention to feel the whole body. What do these sensations feel like? This agitation, etc. The second approach, he says, in balancing energy and concentration, is to use the zoom lens. He calls it the mental zoom lens. So wide angle lens and zoom lens. So another way to cultivate calm and concentration and stability is to bring the attention in close. Really, whatever the object of daily life or meditation, zoom in and really pay attention to the breath, or the taste or the touch of whatever is happening in that moment. Yeah, it has a lot to do with right effort, that to zoom those different lenses. Oh, I could go on, but I must not. Okay, I'll have to. It's just another really good story from Joseph here. On a retreat in Nepal, very difficult conditions, 5 of us sharing a cement floor right next to the toilets, with a lot of city noise filling the monastery. He says, my mind was grumbling quite a bit about what I was taking to be all these distractions. Then he went to his teacher, Saida Upandita, and I told him what was going on. And the direction from the teacher was be more mindful. Yes, but it's so terrible. Be more mindful. Isn't this great? My first inner reaction was somewhat dismissive. I thought that he wasn't taking my concerns very seriously. But then, as I began the walking meditation outside, I thought, well, maybe I'll actually try out what the teacher is saying. And by carefully attending to even the subtlest sensations of the movement, and much to my surprise, in the very moment of this careful attention, all the mental grumbling disappeared. With more precise mindfulness, there was no room for this hindrance to arise. You see, so that's the zoom lens. Really pay attention to what's going on right now and occupy the attention with that. And then that mind state is not being fed anymore. Yes. And if you need help, go to Nepal and study in a monastery where you sleep on a cement floor beside the toilets. Or just read the book and do what Joseph said. All right. Okay, let's practice. Notice here if there's any aversion to practicing because of restlessness. Oh, well, now I'll go and do this, or, clicking onto other screens, or etc. And what a beautiful opportunity to practice with this hindrance. So, put down any distractions. Rest the eyes. They don't have to close, but they might just rest downward if you prefer. So the eyes aren't being fed by distraction. And before you try to calm the body, just stay right here and see if you can notice are there any sensations of restlessness in the body and mind right now? Even if it's very subtle. For lots of us, it's not subtle. Is there tension in the face? Restlessness in the tongue and jaw? Worry and tension in the neck and shoulders? Activation of these muscles that reach and do and get and push? Is there tension, fluttery, or numbness, or butterflies in the heart or belly? Agitation, tension in the hands or fingers? And just allow yourself to feel any of that. Might feel like the waves churning the surface of the water, or the mind might feel like the wild monkeys And see if you can notice what happens with these sensations when mindfulness meets them. When you put the frame around that painting. And see if we can invite this wide lens, invite a sensation and experience of spaciousness around the body. Just a field of awareness, that framing of experience around your whole being. Enough space that it feels okay to just feel it. It's like this. These sensations can be very strong and kind of compulsive. They push us into compulsive reactions and activities. And so it may be really difficult to just feel the sensations. And so if you need a little bit of more grounding with that, turn instead to the touch points. Actual physical touch points of the body, on your chair, feet on ground, hands wherever they're resting. If it's uncomfortable for you to practice with your eyes closed right now, or there's a lot of noise around you, you can use the touch point of sound, just hearing, or seeing. I'm here now, here now. If I wasn't feeling this restlessness or worry right now, what might I be feeling? What's underneath? What's fueling and stoking that hindrance? And you might recognize one of the other hindrances of doubt or desire. Now we'll gently begin to turn towards the other aspect, the absence of this hindrance, turning towards calm, learning to recognize moments and sensations of calm. Is there a part of your breath experience that feels most soothing, releasing, letting go, calming, spacious, grounding? Is there a touch point that feels calming? And for you in these next few minutes of the meditation, for you tonight in this moment, which lens, the wide angle lens or the zoom lens, um, is more conducive to calming for you? Does it feel more easeful, calm, spacious, to have a nice wide focus of attention? Noticing whatever's coming and going within that? Or does it help your mind to anchor and rest and focus a little bit, to come into that zoom lens and really pay attention to the very close, specific attention to one aspect of your experience, perhaps a breath or something else? Another helpful tool with restlessness and worry can be to open the eyes so the mind isn't looping quite so strongly, just to have the eyes gently open and seeing where you are. And see if practice is conducive to more calm and insight, and hopefully it is for you. Um, hmm, I just want to do. I've only done this once, where I've unfriended someone on Facebook, and it still feels like hard to do. But it was around taking care of what was really getting to be an agitated state within my being. Um, and the two of us kind of agreed that it would be good to do that, to do that. So that was interesting. But wanted to read this. It's also in Joseph's book on mindfulness, on restlessness and worry and unwise attention. And he says, restlessness and worry also come about through unwise attention to situations in the world. This does not mean that we should be apathetic or non-responsive. Rather, it means that we should examine things with the eye of wisdom and see what the appropriate response might be. Mental agitation contributes nothing but more confusion. Um, he goes on to talk about our age of instant communication and provocative talk, and how it's not conducive to calm and insight. Uh, this is an interesting quote. I wish we were in a discussion so you could see what you think of this, that he shares from St. John of the Cross. Explicitly expressed this when he said, quote, disquietude is always vanity. Very interesting. Because it serves no good. Yes, even if the whole world were thrown into confusion, which it is, and all things in it, disquietude on that account would still be vanity. That's really interesting, isn't it? I'm not, I'm still inquiring about that. But it's if it's affecting us to an extent that we have become agitated, then unskillful, and it's you know something. Yeah, I'm not sure about the use of the word vanity there. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that if it lands for you. Um, it is related to part of a sutta um, mm, with and Sariputta speaks to this person and does say that this restlessness in you, this is and it's related to conceit, which kind of relates to vanity. So yeah, there's some more there to explore that I'm not sure about. Yeah, there's a lot in this one, isn't there? Boy. But it's like all of the other hindrances. Turn towards it is the first thing. Just recognize you need for your practice to develop, you need to learn these 5 hindrances and just know them, to be able to name them, recognize them in daily life and in formal practice. Like, oh, this is desire. This is aversion. Just name them. If you can only do that, you'll be leaps ahead in your awareness and calm and presence. Just start naming it. And then if you're able to feel the sensation in the body, oh, it feels like this. Wow, that's really interesting. What is this I'm calling restlessness? What is it really? And yeah, there's lots to unpack, but that's kind of the first 2 go-to places. And yes, thank you for being here, and thank you for your Donna, your support. It's very difficult for Dharma teachers and Dharma institutions, as it is for so many at this time. The lack of or change in income from teaching and not having that support. So as you're able, it is much appreciated. But certainly not to any point of harm for yourself, because I know we're all affected at this time. All right, I'm open to suggestions for other topics or questions or things you want me to teach about. You could shoot me an email or message on Facebook or put it in the chat here. I love to have other stuff to work with, but I'll find something. You're welcome, Terry. All right, folks. Thank you, Supriya, for telling us the name of that book that escaped me. Okay, folks, good luck with your hindrances. Oh. Hey, Patty, you're here. Thanks for being here. All right. See you next week. I will be back Wednesday evening. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Good night.